Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Upkick MMA, episode 305. I am Brendan. All right, PFL 2023 playoffs, featherweight and light heavyweight. We're going to cover this card from yesterday. This is going to be Bubba Jenkins, Jesus Pinedo. We're going to cover the rest of the card here, covering each each fight round by round, breaking it down, going over what happened and who is going to the finals. So, before we get into that stuff, if you like this kind of thing, you like MMA, you like fight breakdowns, you like podcasts about MMA, subscribe to the channel so you know the next videos coming out. I do 2 or 3 videos every single week and breaking down fights. All right, let's get into this. If you're looking for a specific fight from the card, timestamps are down below. Okay, Bubba Jenkins taking on Jesus Pinedo. So Pinedo obviously lost his first fight in the series this year. And then he knocked out Brendan Loughnane to get into the playoffs. Now, this fight, he ends up winning this fight. And we can go over the stat. We can look at like the total stats here and stuff. He absolutely demolished Bubba Jenkins. Okay. Pinedo missed weight, which means he needed to win all 3 rounds or get a finish because he started a point down. I think this is how all weight misses should be treated. I think there should be a discussion on the table for point deduction, right? I think in not in lieu of, but maybe on top of, a percentage of your purse. Maybe I'll take less of a percentage if you give me a point, right? I think it should be a part of the discussion because otherwise, I didn't talk about this. I said I might do a separate video, but I think this is a good time to bring it up. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson this past weekend, he said, my opponent missed weight in Michel Pereira. He missed weight, and I'm not fighting him. He's like, I feel like they don't get punished enough, and I'm not rewarding this guy for missing weight. We've seen it happen recently where, the person takes the fight, accepts the fight, and they lose it, and they might get more money, but now they lose their rank. Now they lose, they have a loss on their record. And I've been saying it for years. I'm not the only one. People have been saying it forever. Okay? And we'll talk more about that at the end, but I want to get into the fight itself. So, hard low kicks from Bubba to start the fight. Bubba landed another really hard low kick. It looked like that's kind of what his game plan was, to stay on the outside, use oblique kicks to the knee, front kicks to the body, that kind of stuff. Bubba got in on a single, and then he got in a double leg. You just really couldn't control him on the ground. Pinedo landing a decent uppercut in the separation. Pinedo really looking to get the finish and knocking Bubba down early. Bubba gets a single leg takedown, then a double leg, but Pinedo gets back up. Pinedo landed a hard series of shots, rocking Bubba, and Bubba swinging back, and the round ended. Obviously, this is at least a 10-9 round for Jesus Pinedo. You could give him a 10-8 here. I think there was enough back and forth to where you could see a 10-9 as well. But even if you gave it a 10-8, that's fine. Jenkins was using his jab to start the second round really well. Pinedo walking him down, rocking him. Bubba swinging back. He landed a hard shot himself, but Pinedo just did not stop. Bubba went down, and Pinedo in the mount. Bubba gets out of it somehow. He reversed position, gets on top, and then Pinedo just raises his arms like, well, why are we sitting here? And I understand you need to be active on the ground, but any fighter who is on their back and raises their arms up saying, what's going on here? You need to be actively working to get back up. I think that's total bullshit. I think that's crap. Like, you can't, I'm not saying you have to love grappling or you have to love when one guy's just sitting on another one. I'm not a fan of that either. But it is way worse when the guy who's on the bottom is looking to the ref to stand them up. And essentially what he's saying is, I'm not going to waste any energy here. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to have the referee do my job for me. Your job is to end the fight. So either roll for a submission, attempt to work for a better position, sweep, or stand back up. But you're not doing any of those. You laid on your back and did nothing. The ref stood them back up. Pinedo starts talking shit because Bubba's bleeding real bad, and the doctor has to come in, and Pinedo wants to keep fighting. Like, where was this urgency when you're on your back, jackass? You're all Billy Badass now. When you're all standing up, when you're on your back, you kind of just sat there, huh? He landed some really hard shots, and the fight gets called off. I'm not taking anything away from Pinedo's performance on the feet. Fantastic. He beat the shit out of Bubba Jenkins here. No question about it. All right, you want to look at the final sequence here. It was pretty nasty. Yeah, he just lands some nasty stuff. right here, bam, and one more, and then that's it. The ref calls it. So I'm not taking anything away from his actual performance when he was standing up in the cage, but there are certain things that fighters do that really irk me. One of them is looking to the referee to save them from a bad position instead of working to a better position themselves. Another thing is missing weight, and let's talk about that. So, like I said, I've been keeping track. I'm going to be keeping track in the UFC. I don't think I'm going to do it in any other organization that way because I have more detailed results, and I cover every single UFC fight, so it's a guarantee that I'm going to get all my data. I'm keeping track of fouls and wins, right? This is just another form of cheating. It's sanctioned cheating is what it is. You agreed to fight at 145 pounds. You did not weigh 145 pounds. Therefore, you're not fighting at your weight class. So I don't know how they allowed this fight to continue. Because if this was the championship fight, would he be eligible for the $1 million? Would he be eligible for the championship? I don't think so. Unless they get a special pass from the commission. Like all the other commissions, like if the person misses weight, they're not eligible for the title. And if they do have the title, they get stripped of the belt if they can't make weight. We've seen it happen before. So what is the logic here of letting this guy fight? Oh, because we already had it. You took, like, a bunch of people some people got injured, a bunch of people got failed their drug test, and you kicked them all out of the season. You didn't seem to have a problem there. This guy didn't make weight. And yeah, it happened, the day before the competition. Fight doesn't go on then, does it? Bubba Jenkins gets a pass. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's the best way to handle things. But I don't think this is the best way either. Maybe you reschedule it. You put it in another one. And you still dock him something. You still got to dock him something because he's screwing up now not only Bubba Jenkins' schedule, but the production schedule. But why would you continue? If I was a fighter and I saw this in this organization and I'm having a hard weight cut and I'm just like the last pound's just not coming off, the last couple pounds isn't coming off, I just feel like crap. Like I feel like I'm going to die. Why would I continue cutting weight when I know I could just go out there, go balls to the wall, and save my energy for the fight instead of the weight cut? Why would I do that? Like, I wasn't diligent enough the past 3 months, the past 2 months to keep my weight in check and do what I was supposed to do. I wasn't doing my job then. So I'm just going to hold off until doing my job until the fight starts. That's essentially what we have there. And it's like it's unsettling to say the least, because in the UFC or Bellator or I mean, one championship has their own weighing system, but in all these other organizations, when a fighter misses weight, there's an immediate impact, right? You obviously lose a percentage of your purse. I would argue that they should do the point deduction. I did like that they did this here. But really what you're looking at is a guy, or what you're telling them here is you can have an opportunity to win $1 million regardless of whether or not you follow the rules. Fence grabs, eye pokes, nut shots. I mean, we've all known all that stuff, and we see it happen all the time. So, they're less diligent about keeping their fingers and their hands to themselves. But as far as weight cuts now that's also an option for people. They're like, fuck it, I'm just not going to cut weight. I'm just going to go out there and get a knockout. If I don't get a knockout, I lose anyway. Who cares? Like, if I cut weight, I'm going to have a hard time fighting in there. So, fuck it. No weight cut. I just don't get it. I don't get it. I'm not a fan of it. I don't think that's inappropriate. I don't think that's appropriate going forward. I really don't. I think they need to figure out a better system. Because now this guy, this guy has an opportunity to fight for $1 million at a weight class that he didn't make. right? It's similar to when guys get title shots from when they miss weight for, like, Hamza Chimaev. Like, why would they give him a title shot at 170? He missed weight last time. He would miss weight so bad last time they had to bump him up a weight class. It's almost exactly like that. It's really bad. Let's move on. Joshua Silveira versus Ty Flores. Short fight. Easy fight to break down here. Not a whole lot. Hard low kicks from Silveira knocks Flores off balance. His leg seems to be having some damage. He wasn't walking right on it. Flores is trying for the takedown. He's also really swinging hard. Silveira picking his shots, choosing to attack off the back foot as he moved back and kind of countered Flores' wild entries. Hard body kick from Silveira lands, landing a lead hook when Flores came in for the clinch. A couple knees to the head of Flores as he's wobbled and the ref waves it off. That's a ton of clinch knees. You watch these. Just nonstop. Just watch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, that's a punch. 6 knees. That's a lot of knees from a big boy. Great win from Josh Silveira. We'll see how he does in the finals. It's going to be fun to watch. All right, let's talk about some more controversy here. Chris Wade versus Gabriel Braga. Now, let's get into this. Okay, Chris Wade was being really aggressive, staying in Braga's face, punching his way in. Braga landed some low kicks, looking to move his head off the center line and land that hard right hand every time Wade entered. Braga was warned about his fingers. Keep a note of that. Braga landing a lead left hook as Wade entered in. Wade was trying to use front kicks and knees to keep range. Braga landing some nasty right hands as he's the one pressuring later in this first round. Wade gets a beautiful double leg and Braga gets right back up. He tried to push him down and or tried to take him down and keep him down there, but Braga just did a normal stand, just stood right back up. Braga did way more damage in this first round, but if I wrote down if Wade could land some more of those leg kicks, he might be able to slow him down. 10-9 for Braga for sure. If you look at their smart cage scoring, they had it 71-39 in favor of Braga. I mean, that sounds about right to me. He had more damage, he did everything that you're supposed to do. Braga started the second round with an eye poke. He was warned earlier. Maybe take a point from him? Why? So, no point deduction. And then for those of you guys who are like, oh man, this guy never shuts up. It's like, this guy never shuts up about fouls. What is the point of having rules if people don't have to follow them? What is the point? You agreed to a set of parameters when you signed up for this fight. Follow the parameters. Make weight. Don't grab the fence. Don't poke in the eyes. Don't put your fingers in their mouth. No small joint manipulation. Don't hit to the back of the head. No knees or kicks to the head of a grounded opponent. Oh, God. Wade was staying in Braga's face and gets a takedown again, but Braga and he defends his there was a really tight guillotine in the second round here that he defended off. So gets confusing, but I didn't score that heavily for Wade because it wasn't in for very long. Braga was landing clean with the right hand, using stabbing kicks to the body. Wade was looking tired and just walking in a rage and taking a ton of shots as this round went on. And then I wrote down, for as good as Braga's supposed to be with Wade stationary and tired, you figured he would land more. So either Braga was also absolutely exhausted, or maybe he had an off night. Maybe he's just not as good as everybody says he is. But he definitely had Wade gassed out, stationary, and he could have done whatever he wanted. He could have gone in there and done fucking cartwheel kicks. He could have done backflips. He could have done some Three Stooges fake eye pokes. He could have done literally anything he wanted, and it didn't seem there were consequences for his actions because Wade was just so freaking tired and out of it. I don't know if it's a relatively short notice because he's had to step in for the fighter that got pulled out, but Braga definitely won the first two rounds. There's no question. And if you look at the smart cage scoring 76-39 in favor of Braga, absolutely. We'll get to that when we talk about scoring. But I was expecting more from him. And maybe that was my expectation because I know Braga's really, like, from what I've seen, Braga looks really good. He's tight. He's tight in a good way, right? Like, he keeps his combinations very tight. He's very disciplined in there. And maybe that was it. Maybe he was just overly disciplined and he was just always waiting for Wade to explode on the takedown and he didn't want to get taken down. So maybe I'm being too hard on him. I thought he looked really good, but I feel like he had opportunities to really punish Wade and he just didn't do it. And this is where the last round comes into play because, you know, if this was like a 5-round fight, maybe it doesn't go Braga's way. Because in this round, Wade was in his face looking to blow out all of his energy. He landed some really hard right hands, rocking Braga. Braga with another eye poke that doesn't get caught. No point deduction there because it didn't get seen. Braga landing a really great right hand again. Wade went for a takedown for some reason with 1:45 left. Held him against the cage for the last 1:45 seconds, and because of the damage that he landed, and then he started landing foot stomps, he at least won this last round. If you look at the cage numbers here, he actually won this round more. He had 81-76, and definitely Wade won this last round. But okay, let's talk about the scoring. And they don't do round by round breakdowns. That's not what they handed in, which is fucking weird. But we'll talk about that later. Let's look at the scorecards. Okay, 30-27 for Wade. What the fuck? 30-27 for Braga. Also, what the fuck? And then 29-28 for Braga. Correct. That is the right scorecard. That's the objectively right scorecard here. Okay. The Wade one, I would argue, is more egregious than the Braga one, but they're both horrible. Giving Braga that last round is real bad. He landed like four or five good shots in there, absolutely. But Chris Wade rocked him with 3 or 4 of them and landed at least a couple more hard shots before controlling him for 1:45 of that round. So you want to go damage, if you want to say damage is even, which I don't think it is. I think Wade had the damage in that last round. Then he also has the control time. That last round is not Braga's. I do not give a shit. That's a horrible scorecard. Now, on the other side, who the fuck gave Chris Wade round 1? Round 2, if you want to call it for the guillotine. No, even that one. Round 2 was worse because he was getting touched up. Round 1 would have had to have been the round they gave to him. And he got nothing. He had barely a takedown. He was doing some decent leg kicks, but he took damn. That's a Here's the thing. Round 2 for Wade is egregious. Round 2 for Wade is horrible. Round 1, I think it's bad, like really bad. But maybe you could make an argument by the leg kicks. You think that they were more impactful than they were, and those front kicks to the leg. Maybe you could call it that. I don't. I think Braga won that first round. But if you want to call it that, okay. But looking at that second round, there's no way in hell you give that to Wade. That's a horrible scorecard, and that guy should be investigated. We say this every time. We all say it. Never happens. Nothing ever comes of it. Let's just move on. Right? This is just me just farting into the wind here. Marthin Hamlet versus Impa Kasanganay. Well, not a whole lot to break down. 7 strikes landed for Kasanganay, 4 strikes landed for Hamlet. That's it. Now, Marthin Hamlet was going for the takedowns early. They get right back up. Hamlet gets the back control for a little bit and gets on the hip ride from the side. And then, let's see here. Hamlet stayed in on the clinch and got the trip takedown. Kasanganay got right back up again. I don't know how many times he could have done this, but he didn't need to do it a lot. An uppercut from Hamlet landed as Impa entered. And then Kasanganay taking the center lands a crazy right hand and then a hard left to follow up and put him out fucking cold, man. This was nasty. Just pow, pow, pow. Oh. Just a 1, 2, 3. Just beautiful finish there. Great win for Kasanganay. Speaking of wins, let's look at the finals. All right, so in the light heavyweight division, we have Josh Silveira versus Impa Kasanganay. Okay, I think that's a fun fight. As far as my predictions, I did this last season as well. I think Silveira has a lot more ways to win this, but if he comes out flat, and doesn't look for the takedowns and control, or looks too much for the takedowns and control and gasses out, and Impa's able to keep himself up, I think Silveira's in for a world of hurt. That being said, I think Silveira should be favorited in this one. I think he has more ways to win, and I think he's more likely to win this. And then over here in the featherweights, we have a rematch from this season. So we have Jesus Pinedo versus Gabriel Braga. So Pinedo lost to Braga in a split decision earlier this year, and he thinks he won. Here's the thing. I'm less excited for this. I think Braga has a great opportunity to stay disciplined and win this fight again. I think Pinedo absolutely could land a hard shot and win here. I'm less excited for this because I don't feel like one of the guys who belongs in there. I really don't. I think it's invalid having a guy in there who didn't make weight for the weight class in your Grand Prix here. And so it's not a Grand Prix. I know it's a playoffs, but I think it's kind of unacceptable for that kind of stuff that stuff to happen at this level. It shouldn't be happening. You shouldn't be forcing it through just to save your card or to save your brackets. But that's the way it is because the PFL is, I'm sure they've got rules and bylaws and other things in there that help them, but I think they kind of screwed this one up, and now we have a championship fight with a guy who didn't make weight. Oh, well. That's all, though. All right, so I'm going to be breaking down, you know what? I'm going to break down the one championship card. It was pretty fun to watch. So I'm going to break that one down. Subscribe to the channel so you know when that video comes out. I should be putting it out here in a few hours later today for sure. And then tomorrow I'll break down the boxing match between Jake Paul and Nate Diaz, and then also the UFC card as usual. So subscribe so you don't miss any of those. I appreciate y'all. Have an amazing week. Love you.